Hey, how are you guys? My name is Aaron Hardingham, and I'm dealing with this tattoo copyright and design right case study. The case study is actually based on a copy of my work. So we'll talk you through what we did, why we did it, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you ready? Let's get to it. So you've been copied. Now what do, right? First, we had to establish that you have been copied. It sounds a bit redundant, but you will need to do that, okay? Head over to this website and it'll kind of give you an overview about what it is that you have rights to. Okay, so it'll tell you the kind of format. If somebody's only taken a bit or maybe moved stuff around, um, that's not going to cut it. You won't have the intellectual property rights on that. So do just double check and see where you stand. Obviously, check the rules, right? So if you are absolutely confident that somebody's copied it, then you're good to go. I am just going to give you guys an example. So if we look right here, you can see the one that was copied of mine. So this is just a photo of the design source, right? So it was a digital design. We just printed it out so I had something to reference while we were working that day. And you can see that if we blow up the image, they've just taken the image on the left, blown it up as big as they could, and kind of put it onto somebody's chest. Now that particular image on the left was designed for a lady's forearm, so that hand right there and the face and the rose, they all kind of wind up the forearm and the rose ends up on the elbow. In that particular image that I posted, you can see that actually I've overexposed it, so I've increased the contrast of that image. And by doing that, you lose some of the midtones, so the smoke really isn't there anymore. And because they can't see it, they haven't been able to copy it. So it's a direct copy. I'm quite confident that that's a good confirmation that that's a copy of my artwork, right? So what protections do you have? Pretty straightforward, right? So you're afforded a few automatic protections under UK property law. So design right, sorry, I'll get it out in a moment, is the one that we're looking for, right? It's the one that I would have shown you in that link. Design right affords you the protection and it's automatic for the designs that you create at any point. There are some caveats there. There are some things that you do want to look at. You will just check the website. Everything that you need in detail is there, okay? So it only protects the design in its current arrangement. Now, I did mention earlier that if, somebody moves the proportions around, or maybe they, I don't know, in that particular example, they could have took that rose and put it by the hand, suddenly I'm no longer protected. I could only sort of go after certain portions of that design. So yeah, it's a bit of a funny law, but you have got some kind of protection, which is better than nothing, right? So how do we start protecting you now? That is a big one. That's something that I really, really want you guys to focus on. It's the easiest and most simple thing that you could do, and it's free. So timestamp all of your art, including the drawings. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, right? Everybody's got a phone now that can take a decent photo, right? You can upload that to your computer. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your drawing, cool, everything's looking great, perfect, then snap a photo of it. Then what you want to do is take that photo and store it somewhere. Okay, so what we want to be doing here is maybe, I don't know, if you got like a detachable hard drive that you can make a copy of it. Cool, great, now you got some proof that you did it, okay? Then you want to make sure that you've got a backup of that particular photo somewhere else as well. So for me, I've got it spread across 3 different hard drives. Every single thing is protected at all times, right? You don't want one of your computers getting corrupt or something damaged. You want to have some protection. You want to have copies of that. Simple stuff. Just get straight on it. Okay. Here is an example of what the digital copy would look like and the timestamp there. So you can see the original image on the left. It shows me the dates that we created them in the middle. And it gives me a timestamp on the right hand side. You're just looking for details. Yeah, it should be in the general section, but if you need anything else, it's in the details right there. You got the little red box to kind of highlight that. So what possible reasons could there be for copyright? What do you think? Laziness, somebody's not doing the due diligence and they just think, oh yeah, well, the guy said it was his. That's fine. Um, Maybe they need the money. This one's really hard to deal with. You know, if somebody can't afford to put food on their table, that would hurt, not having enough money to kind of feed yourself or feed your family or feed your kids or whatever. And maybe the client's being an absolute dickhead and they're coming in and they're going, well, I want it exactly like this. I know you need the money. You're just going to do it for me, right? It's not great, but you could see why they would do it. Otherwise, they just don't care, in which case they're scratchers. These are the these are the people that I spend my entire career having to fucking deal with, right? These dickheads do not care. They'll just copy it, take the money, laugh as they're riding into the sunset, right? And at that point, we need to discuss the options. We need to go over what it is that we would do with that. I mean, yeah, you could go to court. That's going to be pretty expensive. You have to pay to get it there. Then you're going to find yourself a lawyer. I mean, the only real thing I could think of is you'd want to have a lawyer that would do maybe a no-win, no-fee. Other than that, I can't really think of anything else or any other reason why you would try and do that. You could contact them directly. Now, here's where it gets interesting. That can be intimidating for some people, right? Now, obviously, if you're using the Federation, you could go through us. But if you contact them directly, you might be able to open a dialogue. There's a couple of things we want to talk about there, but we'll get to those in a second. You could go on a social media hate campaign. We do not recommend this under any circumstances. Problem here is you've spent a lot of time trying to build up your reputation. A lot of people now spend a lot of time on social media. If you go around saying, oh, these guys are assholes, they totally copied my stuff, blah, 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 cry, cry, cry. Before you know it, your clients are looking at you like you're the fucking dickhead, right? As much as the person's obviously copied the work and they're being morons about it, but ultimately the client base is looking at you like you've lowered yourself down to it. So let's not try and do that, hey? The other option is obviously the Federation, like I mentioned earlier. We could contact them on your behalf, especially if you're members. That'd be the only way we could do it for you. But yeah, you get us to do it in an official capacity. So if you contact them directly, this is what I was really interested with. You could negotiate an agreeable outcome. That could be all sorts of things. I don't know, maybe they agreed to give you the money that they made on profit on that particular design that they copied. I don't know, maybe they could, oh, we're really, really sorry, and an apology is all you would need, or maybe it's like a promise from them that they won't do it again, or, maybe that doesn't work. Maybe you need something a little bit more. You could decide to go to court, especially if they're being pretty belligerent about it, right? Like if they're just going to do, well, what the fuck are you going to do about it? Well, there's plenty you can do about it when you want to take it through the court, except obviously it's going to cost you to do that. It's going to cost them. Everybody loses in that case. Or, yeah, you could do the social media thing again, which is not recommended, but that is an option, I suppose. Um, Really, it's about how we found an agreeable outcome. What you're not trying to do is bend them to the will of the law. You're also not trying to force anybody to do anything that's sort of untoward. Like you wouldn't force somebody to come out and make a fucking public apology or anything like that. Really, to get an agreeable outcome, you want to give somebody a position where they can try and save face so they don't look bad. And you want to make sure that you're satisfied that they're actually not going to do this again. Cool? Right. So here's how we did it. We contacted the studio. So the studio that the guy was working under, so he was representing them. We didn't actually go to the guy. So I went straight to the studio owner. And we sent them an official email, okay? Now the email looked a little bit like this. So all it is a quick little thing, and if you notice there in the middle, it does explain that we'd like them to kind of tell us what happened, why that might be the case. And if you look right under that, I've only given them 3 working days, yeah, to try and figure that out. What is that, 72 hours? Right. So I've only given them 3 working days before I go back to said client and say, hey, this is your options because nobody's getting back to us. So that's how that went. The email went off without a hitch. It was all fine. And a couple of days later, we got a response from them. So they had an opportunity to explain it. Basically, they said, well, oh, they weren't aware that it was a copy design. So basically, these guys were being lazy. They didn't do the due diligence. So now somebody's walking around with a tattoo on their chest that is the same as my fucking client, And my clients had to pay me £500 for that fucking privilege, right? Whereas this moron's running around, I don't know what he paid for that. Apparently it was done in like a couple hours, fucking arsehole. Anyway, yeah, I get a bit angry about it. But you know, this guy's walking around with this other woman's work. She's paid premium. This guy's just had it ripped off. But they didn't do the due diligence. So now we're in this situation. We gave them the 72 hours to respond. They did that. And now we need to check up on the response. Now the response from them, the studio themselves, so they didn't go to the artist, remember, the response from them was to fire the guy. They immediately just went, no, you're done. And then they forced him to take everything off of his social media that was to do with this design. So he wasn't going to get any credit for it. He wasn't going to make any more money of it. And he was aware that the Federation was watching him, and we still are. So yeah, he got fired, right? The company had removed all of his stuff from social media platforms, and we followed it up. Oh, quickly go back here. So we followed it up. And by that, I mean, we looked at all of his stuff. We went, well, you know, can we absolutely make sure that he's not getting any more money off of that? And all we did was basically go around and follow him, on all of the platforms. So we went Facebook, Instagram, anywhere else that he was sharing stuff to, and just double check that everything was in fact removed, and it was. So now we've got your alternate outcomes. You could go to court, right? Obviously that's going to cost. Here's the one that's really juicy. This one I quite like. Obviously, I'm a member of the Federation, but basically the Federation has a code of conduct. So if they'd have joined the Federation then has the authority to go in and enforce the code of conduct. And by that, we could go and speak to local authorities about their licenses if they are continually plagiarizing people, because it is illegal. So the authority would have some sort of responsibility to make sure that they are following good business guidelines and practices. It's not like it's directly written anywhere, but after speaking to Norwich City Council about this particular thing, that is something that they have to do. So basically, yeah, get them to join. They have to pay the membership. They have to agree to sign the code of conduct. They sign the code of conduct. They have to put it up, right? And then they have to advertise on their page that they are then a member of the Federation, and then we can go around and enforce their code of conduct, right? Piece of piss. Absolutely fantastic little outcome. So, yeah, I know it's not a huge presentation, but I do hope this helps. You know, there are questions that are still left to be answered. So by that I mean maybe we could try and find a lawyer that would take these cases up for people. That would be quite useful, maybe. But in the end, you know, your copyright is do all the little bits in the beginning, right? So make sure that you are taking photos of your work. Then in the middle there, you want to just make sure that you are in fact double checking that you have actually been copied. Because if it's not a direct copy like the example that we'd shown you, that's not going to work, right? And then obviously just make sure that you end up with an agreeable outcome. So we had a situation where somebody had contacted me regarding this, where it was the customers who were taking her designs directly off of her page and then trying to go to other artists to get them to do it for cheaper. That's all very well and good, but if everybody adheres to the same code of conduct, it stops that shit from happening. So it's just a matter of tying up all the root causes rather than trying to deal with the symptoms, I suppose. So that's what we're here for. We're here to try and help that situation, yeah. If you have questions, what I really need you guys to do is just send me an email. I don't know, get in contact on Facebook, whatever you want to do, right? Instagram's right there, and just ask. Doesn't matter. You know, we had a clothing company ask us about the same sort of thing, so it's all good. Just ask, right? Hopefully it helps. And the big thing here is the reason why we do this and the reason why we're doing this for free is because we want to do business with you people in the future, right? Doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. You know, if you're just doing tattoo designs on t-shirts, I don't know, maybe you're doing tattoo designs for mugs. I don't care. And cups and furniture, who cares? Whatever. Or maybe you're doing designs, you're in a regular tattoo business and you're just trying to protect your customers, your staff, all that sort of stuff. whatever the case is, the reason we put this out for free is to try and, generate some goodwill. If you guys think this is a good thing, then, we'll try and do some more stuff for you guys. It's not about trying to take money off of people. It's trying to help in general. I'm sick and tired of dealing with these fucking dickhead scratchers and all of this copyright shit. It really is pissing me off. If we could all agree to a code of conduct, that would be sweet, right? We wouldn't have to deal with this. Now, obviously, here's the short little sales pitch. If you'd like to sign up, click on the button there, and it'll take you through to our membership page. You simply click the membership that you wanna purchase, and then kind of follow it through there. We deal with PayPal, so you've got buyer protection. Select your membership. Obviously, if you're an individual, you can do either a full year, which is a bit cheaper, or you can do monthly if you don't have that kind of cash flow. It's whatever, right? And enjoy the business documents. This is the big one, right? So the Federation has been spending a whole bunch of time building in the back office of what is required to make a business run. It's not just a tattoo business anymore. When we start getting into the business side of things, it's your fire safety, your contracts for your employers, right? So let's say you're a self-employed tattooist and you're working for a bigger studio. Well, do you have a contract in place, something that's legally binding? Well, we've got a template that you can literally print off, hand it to them. You guys sign all the details, make the addendum or the amendments there, sorry, for the addendum that has all of the details about, I don't know, whether you're responsible for doing all of the piercings or whether you're responsible for doing only this type of tattoo work. There's going to be some fire safety sheets that will go up, so it's a risk assessment that's going to go up. That's pretty intensive, that one. There's a consent form template that's pretty straightforward, and then we've got a discount for one of our suppliers, right? So the supplier discount is for critical skin. It's a numbing agent. Not everybody agrees with it, but it has increased our profit margin by about 30%. Now, if you take into account that an individual artist can maybe make about 40 grand a year, you add 30% on top of that, that's a nice bit of change, right? All from just making a numbing agent available to your clients, whether you agree with it or not. But this stuff is FDA approved for continual tattoo use, and we can get it covered by our insurance. That's the only one. So you got discounts to that as being a member, right? It's ever expanding, so we're constantly adding more stuff in. And in particular, right now, what we're focusing on is building people's businesses. So building your tattoo business, making it bigger, allowing you to hire more artists. It's pretty simple stuff, but it's all done through coaching. You can speak to us directly. And I mean, I needed coaching. I've got a couple multi-million-pound friends who've helped me grow businesses and so on and so forth. Right now, I'm currently operating 4 different businesses, and they're all kind of doing their own thing. So it's all quite a big process, but it's not without everybody trying to help each other. That's the whole point. If we're not fucking helping each other, what's the point, right? So that's it. I'm not going to waffle on too much longer. It has been quite a long video. I appreciate you guys sticking around and watching it all. Hopefully you found it useful. And if you do have questions, get in contact. Otherwise, take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Bye.